just do it with my
The pressure, he's in trouble. Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle. The Dolphins touchdown.
Throwing deep upfield on the near side. Man open. Touchdown! He's got a man. Touchdown!
The run from Tua Talk.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. He's got it for the touchdown again. Touchdown!
Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fire to the end zone. Touchdown!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? We in the playoffs, baby. Yeah, Victory Monday. I mean, has there ever been a sweeter Victory Monday than today? Has there been a sweeter Victory Monday in recent memory than today? Because today, it's the playoffs, baby. The Patriots and their clown content creators can watch us. The Jets and their clown content creators can sit back and watch us. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful, man. Whoo! You know, I said my wife, the kids were making food yesterday and the alarm was going off while we were live streaming the post-game show, and she's apologizing to me and saying, you know, sorry. And I said, babe, unless you're coming down here with a 50 caliber right now and blowing my brains out, there ain't nothing you can do right now that is going to make me mad. Let me tell you that right now. We just made the playoffs, baby. Whew! Anything can happen. Just get in. The Dolphins did, and now the big question turns to the quarterback situation for the Miami Dolphins. All right, we ain't playing again. Let me take these off right now for y'all. All right, so it comes down to, will Tua Tagovailoa be able to play tomorrow? Now it looks weird looking at myself without the pitties on. Will Tua Tagovailoa be able to play this Sunday? And what? I know I said tomorrow, but will he be able to play Sunday? And what step of the concussion protocol is he in? And all that, we got all these kind of questions, all this kind of stuff. Before we do, I want to shout out everyone showing up in the chat, because I think there were some key things said even after the game yesterday that we'll go over that. I think people in that building believe it, that it's going to be happening. I mean, you saw Mike Giardi this morning on NFL Network said, again, just emphasizing what Jay Glazer said, that Tua is telling people around him he wants to play this week. Right? So you got that coming out, but we got even more stuff. So we'll get into that. We'll get that, probably be the first thing we will get into. And we'll go everything. I'm going to take you in depth and show you what the stages are and everything, but I want to shout out everyone showing up in the chat, showing love. Shout out to Barry Bailey. He was the first today. Brian Gonzalez. JB, Lovie Smith is free. Man, Lovie Smith interests me, but did Boyer save his job yesterday? We'll talk about that too. Jose, Ronaldo fan. Chef Jew, Chad. Michael Simmons, NT Chewy. Brian, Jermaine, Angel. The homie Russell out here. Finn's in the house. Chris Gifford. My bad. I apologize. What are we talking about here? Dolphin Dawn. What's going on? Denisha, hello to you. James Steele. Franklin Lejeune. Franklin, yeah, we're going to get your stuff out to you. Don't worry. We're taking care of you. You and Nick. I'm still waiting for the other person to message me. South Florida Dawn, what's going on? 80850, what's going on? Jackson Craney, what's going on? Robert Carrillo, the Wayne D, what's going on, homie? How you doing, fam? Justin Vanderberg, Allen, Ben, TA Fins up. Man, let's get it. All right, now let's just hop in. Why dilly dally and waste time? let's just see, Russell, we're going to talk about Boyer. Let me talk about the Tua stuff, then we're going to talk about Boyer, bro. Because, listen, I agree with you, bro. Agree with you 110%. Listen, I will say this, though. The last, I would say the Packers, the Patriots, and the Jets game, they've been far better than what they were for the rest of the year. But again, look at the opponents a lot, 2 out of those 3 weeks. I do think they were really good against the Packers, though. They did enough for us to win. It's just obviously we collapsed offensively due to a concussion. But, you look at, 2 of the last 3 opponents have been pretty weak, So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if Boyer's job is safe, but we're going to talk about that. Let's get into the Tua stuff. Is Tua trending towards playing? I got a bunch of stuff I want to show y'all. And I agree with y'all. See, listen here. I'm going to sit all with y'all. Listen. Just touch on the defense thing quick, because obviously y'all are talking about Boyer in the comment section, so I'll feed y'all right now before we get into his stuff. You know where I felt. We've had a number 9 offense. We've had a number 10, number 9 scoring offense, a number 10 scoring offense, a number 8 scoring offense. And the last, 5-6 weeks, we've been ranked giving up more points than a top 10 scoring offense. And that's a big issue for me. That's McDaniel, Boyer, and Danny Crossman were holdovers. I don't know where some of these people out here are getting this idea that he chose them. No. They were holdovers, my friends. Listen, this goes back to Brian Flores. If all of y'all would have been listening to me all the way back then, okay? Let me tell y'all the chain of command. Stephen Ross. Who has Stephen Ross's ears? Tom Garfinkel. Why? Not just Dolphins-related stuff. Stuff he's done with the F1. All the stuff he's done with the Hard Rock Stadium and the property outside of the Dolphins has been so successful, it has both of Stephen Ross's ears. Now, who's Tom Garfinkel's buddy? Chris Greer. When this whole Brian Flores thing started, yes, players were against Brian Flores. Tua Tagovailoa, Xavier Howard, to name a few. Then you had guys on his side, Byron Jones, etc., etc. Funny enough how Byron Jones ain't around. He was a teacher's pet. But anyways, I digress. The people who started getting into Garfinkel and Chris Greer's ear, I've told y'all this from when it all started. Danny Crossman, Josh Boyer. They are the ones who started. Remember, you heard the reports of Flores not talking to coaches and him and Gerald Alexander taking away the play calling duties? That was all 110% correct. And the reason why he wasn't talking to our coaches was because they were basically started ganging up on him and starting a mutiny because of how he was treating players and people in the building. Were they justified? Sure. But the way they went about it was very, very sketchy. Very, very sketchy. All right, they basically got Garfinkel and Greer's ear, teamed up on him, got some players behind them, and boom, he was gone. All right, and now, because of that relationship, and because of that trust obviously there, and because of what you saw the defense do in the last 8 weeks, and because Brian Flores, you got to give Brian Flores credit in this aspect, he kept telling y'all Boyer was calling the plays when he was lying through his teeth. Okay? He just didn't want to do that to Boyer. He didn't want to throw Boyer under the bus. So you got to give him credit for that. He didn't throw Boyer under the bus. Anyways, you're seeing Boyer's been exposed. The situational play calling, right? You're seeing it. Flores would take away the play calling in certain situations. You are seeing it all happen and transpire right now with Boyer. Listen, we can say what we want about Brian Flores the man or Brian Flores the head coach, cool. But Brian Flores the defensive coordinator, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, Brian Flores is a very, very smart defensive mind. I'm sorry, he just is. We were top 5 in takeaways and scoring defense under him for multiple years. I had a conversation and got pretty heated with a couple people on the weekend, and I tried to tell them what's the biggest difference this year that we've seen through previous years. And they were Tyreek. No, it's not Tyreek. Okay? We went from a top 5 scoring offense a top 5 scoring defense and top 10 in takeaways the last 2 years to now we are bottom in the league in both of those, and that matters. We went from allowing 16 to 18 points a game to now we allow just under 25 points per game. That is not good. That is like a 6-point to 8-point swing. That is not good. Okay? There's a difference between allowing 25 points or less per game as opposed to allowing 20 points or less per game. So you look at where we are. Here, I'll tell you. I'll give you the numbers exactly right now. Give me 1 sec. Okay, right now we are 27th in the NFL as a scoring defense. Right? We used to be top 5 the last 2 seasons. That is unacceptable. I keep telling y'all, what we did in Buffalo a couple weeks ago, 29 points in the road, 2 in that offense, even with bad situational play calling by McDaniel and Boyer in that game, the offense did enough to win that game. 29 points on the road in Buffalo in those conditions should get it done. 3rd and 17. This defense can't get off the field, and it's not the personnel. People, when I say this defense, think I'm bashing the players. No, I'm bashing. I don't think Boyer puts them in a lot of successful positions. Now, this week, we're so successful against the Jets because we went back to that aggressiveness, and they're also a terrible offense. On top of that, let's not lie to ourselves. All right? But, I mean, heading into that game, heading into the Jets game, right? And you look at where we were ranked as a defense, all right? Now, it's obviously going to change, but I'm just going to tell you one, right? If you look at what we were heading into that game, right? As an offense, we were the 20th total offense. We were the 27th passing defense. Sorry, the 20th total defense. Sorry, I apologize. Right? Okay, check this out. 6th total offense, 3rd passing offense, 27th rushing offense, 10th scoring offense, and 24th third down offense. That's what we were in offense, all right? Top 10 in multiple categories there, in 4 actually. In sacks allowed, too, we were 4th. Okay? Now, defense, 20th in total defense, 27th in passing defense, 8th in rushing defense, 27th in scoring defense, 12th in sacks, which is good, 24th in third down defense, and 30th in takeaways in the NFL. But yet, and then at home, look at again. Look at, that Jets game. What, the Jekyll and Hyde. Here you go. Look at how good we were at home yesterday. Right? We were finally good on the road against the Patriots. I mean, hey, did you see what the Detroit Lions did to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers yesterday? Should we go back and remind everyone what Tua in our offense did against that same Detroit Lions team? I digress, though. Anyways, the defense just isn't where it needs to be right now. You cannot allow, heading into this game this weekend, we were allowing 24.6 points per game, 27th in the NFL. We were the 10th scoring offense. We were scoring 24.1 points per game, down for 24.3 when Tua was in. We were number 9 in Tua's last game, and then when Tua was out, the Patriots game put us to 10, and I'm sure we're going to be outside of the 10 after scoring 11 now. We've fallen out of the top 10 when Tua's been out. Again, showing how vital Tua is to this offense clicking and doing what it needs to be doing, right? So, Josh Boyer, listen. I don't know what to say. I don't hate on Josh Boyer. It's just, it is what it is. It's glaring. And anyone lying to you or themselves, I don't know what to tell you. The Watchmaster says, I just want to thank Coach Brian Flores for being the absolute GOAT and helping us make the playoffs. Tyreek and Waddle had nothing to do with it. Flores GOAT. That's dripping with sarcasm for all of you who did not know Watchmaster, by the way. So, listen. I don't know if Boyer's job's safe. I don't. Y'all know as much as I do if Boyer's job. We're gonna know as whenever this playoff run ends. Bro, I'm telling you right now, I got a feeling if Tua's back this weekend and we're gonna get into it, we ain't losing this weekend. I got a feeling, baby. I don't know what it is, but I feel it in my giblies. If Tua's back this weekend, we ain't losing. And that is with me expecting some rust. Anyways, things will become clearer, but the sense I'm getting This is the sense I'm getting from people I'm talking to, et cetera, and things I'm hearing behind the scenes is that McDaniel's going to want his own guy. Unless we go on like some serious run here and the defense is lights out during the playoffs, which then he might even get offered a job. The sense I'm getting is McDaniel might want his own guy. And I actually agree with local SEO services for small businesses. Bro, you need to... Local SEO services needs to email finsidethenfl@gmail.com. All right? Let's get that search engine optimization rolling, brother. You need to hit me up. Anyways, I agree with you. Greer cannot control injuries and penalties. I agree 110%. It's like with player development. I saw people trying to blame Greer with player development. And you can't blame Greer for player development. Like... His job is to fill the roster, and then the coach's job is to develop it. Now, the only thing I think where you can start looking at Greer sideways is, you know, all the capital we've given up, the moves we've made, everything spent over the last couple years. We need results, right? We need results. And that's the only thing. But again, that comes down to coaching. There's other factors into that too. Now, if you're going to clean house, he is a common denominator that's been here for over 20 years. Right? At least he's been here for multiple years. And 20 years, and you're going to clean house. But the thing that has always worried me about cleaning house with Chris Greer is, do you want to lose guys like Reggie McKenzie and Marvin Allen? Right? Because if you're going to clean house and go through like a new front office, those guys are probably going to leave with Greer unless you promote one of them. So now I'm not even predicting. I don't think Greer or anyone's going to get house cleaned. I don't think. Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. My reasons, expectations for 2023, tell you right now. Greer will be back. McDaniel will be back. Danny Crossman will not be back. I'm like 70-30. Boyer won't be back. Tua will be back, and we will have a better contingency plan than Bridgewater or Brissett in place if Tua gets hurt. I think they're going to try and bring in a guy, whomever that may be, whether it's developing Skylar to a certain point or signing someone. I think they're going to bring in a guy that if Tua goes down, he could lose his job to this guy if it's going to be for 4 or 5 games. I think they're going to spend some money on a legit contingency plan. I do think so. And Tua's going to come out of camp knowing I can't miss games. That's what I think. He's going to come out of camp knowing I can't miss games. That's what the play. I'm going to tell you this right now. Ross, McDaniel, they're not going to overlook the first 12 weeks of the season when this kid was in the MVP talks. Some of y'all with agendas might, but they're just not going to overlook it. I'm going to tell you that right now. Don't get your hopes up and start spending your whole summer and the whole off season, if we don't win the Super Bowl or go to the AFC Championship, talking about Tua's out, we need a new guy. I'm going to tell you right now, don't waste your breath and waste your hours of time. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to run it back with Tua. It's just going to be with a way better contingency plan than we've had the last 2 years, I believe. They're not going to... Guys, this guy missed how many games, and he was still about 170 yards away from finishing in the top 10 in yards, passing yards this year. And he missed how many games? Look at how many categories he finished first in still. I'm going to tell you this right now, they're not going to move off of him. I'm going to tell you this right now. Now, they're going to have a better contingency plan in place, but they ain't going to move. The guy finished first in passer rating, first in pass touchdowns to attempts, first in yards per attempt, first in yards per completion. Brother, they ain't moving off of him. I'm sorry. There's just too much talent there, and the ceiling they saw was too high to not try and give him a second year. This will be the first time Tua has the same offensive staff for 2 years in a row. Frank Smith ain't going anywhere. The only one who might go somewhere is Darrell Bevell. And we knew that. Darren Bevell was way under his pay grade. Way under his pay grade. We knew that. That guy was an offensive coordinator or a head coach. He was the interim head coach in Jacksonville when they canned Urban Meyer for a reason. Bevel's going to get a shot somewhere. He's at least going to get an offensive coordinator. He's going to get a shot. The guy's a smart cat. And they're going to fix the offensive line. Like, I've been telling y'all. Not only were Crossman and Boyer pinned to this guy's hip, Jackson, I've been telling y'all since the offseason, Jackson and Eichenberg were pinned to the hip because of the investment made in capital. And because they were pinned to the hip, we have guys like Brandon Shell and Robert Jones we're relying to fill in on because they were going to get a legitimate starting shot. So even McDaniel, that's why, that's been a big factor as to why we haven't been consistently running over 30 times a game. It's because the personnel we've been going through on that offensive line. You're not going to expose yourself on tape to other defensive coordinators and other teams. You're just not going to do that. Anyways, so, Garfinkel and Greer even stepped on McDaniel's toe with his offense by forcing Eichenberg and Jackson on him because they had invested in him, just because Greer can't admit he was wrong. But I'm going to tell you this right now. I've been calling for Bradley Bozeman all season and last offseason, and he ended up being a backup this year. Okay? You go get Bradley Bozeman. You kick Connor back to left guard. I don't care what people try to tell me. I watch the film and I know what the hell I'm watching. All these journalists out here in PFF grades. Okay, after the snap, I've said it all year, after the snap, he's all pro. Before the snap and at the snap, it's a different conversation. People keep trying to talk about Tua's pre-snap adjustments or Tua's adjustments. Do people not realize that the adjustments are all the offensive line adjustments are on the offensive line? Frank Smith told all y'all this. That he said, we did this in Los Angeles with Herbert. Herbert does not have the responsibility of calling offensive line adjustments. That is on the offensive line. They've done that here. And we've seen issues with guys picking up stunts. Right? We've seen issues with guys helping the wrong way. We've seen serious mental issues all season because guys are not making proper pre-snap adjustments. We see guys taking outside shoulder guys instead of inside shoulder guys, which is like a fundamental basic thing you're taught on the offensive line. We see guys wiping other guys out while they're pulling. I don't know what to tell y'all. We don't even have the tight ends right now, okay? Durham Smythe is the only tight end. I'm going to tell you this right now. Hunter Long ain't it. Unless he takes some great leap next year, we should have taken Quinn Miners at that position. I don't know why they didn't, all right? All because Brian Flores had to get his Boston College. If you were going to get a Boston College guy, you should have waited till this year and drafted Zay Jones, the wide receiver. I don't know what they were thinking. Anyways, I digress. Let's get into Tua and his potential availability because I got some stuff I want to show you here. It's multiple things. Multiple things I want to show you here in regards to Tua Tagovailoa. All right? So, for me, all right? Just for where I'm at, let's start off with this. All right? This came out yesterday, and at the end of this article is going to be a very, very interesting thing for me, and I think for all of y'all. Okay, so hey, look at it, Safadine, he's back. All right, writing for the USA Today, Safad said, Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa embraced injured running back Raheem Mostert as they celebrated in the closing minutes. Then Tagovailoa hugged and congratulated his teammates as they left the field and headed back towards the locker room. The Dolphins have reason to celebrate. They're in the playoffs. Dolphins kicker Jason Sanders nailed a 50-yard field goal with 18 seconds left, and Miami forces safety in the closing seconds to beat the Jets 11-6 at Hard Rock Stadium on Sunday. The Dolphins needed a win over the New York Jets and a loss by the New England Patriots to get into the postseason, and the Bills defeated the Patriots 35-23. Now both Miami and Buffalo will face each other for the third time this season when the postseason begins. The bad news, whether Tagovailoa will play or not, will be Miami's biggest storyline this week. And it's looking like he might not be an option for the Dolphins' first postseason trip since 2016 and just their third in the last 21 years. We definitely love Tua. The last time we played against the Bills, Tua put up a real good showing. Star Dolphins receiver Tyreek said of Tagovailoa, who missed his second straight game after his second reported concussion on Christmas Day. So just to have him out there, another captain, another leader, would be great. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, on the other hand, was quick to shoot down any suggestion about Tagovailoa being available. We'll continue to take it day by day, and I will not even think about any sort of game, whether that's this year or next year, until he's fully ready to do so. And that comes with medical clearance, said McDaniel said of Tagovailoa. The Dolphins offense has struggled mightily without Tagovailoa as third-string quarterback. Skylar Thompson started against the Jets in place of Teddy Bridgewater, who broke a finger last week. McDaniel has been consistent in his messaging, noting doctors advised him replacing any expectations or pressure for Tagovailoa's return would be negative to his recovery. Shout out to Griffin Gaming for being a member for 11 months. And Griffin says Tua is in stage 2 based on Mike today. He's in stage 2 or 3, Griffin. We're going to get to that. All right, I'm going to show you why. We'll get to that. All right. McDaniel's been consistent with his messaging, noting doctors advised him placing any expectation or pressure for Tagovailoa's return would be a negative for his recovery. Tagovailoa remains in the NFL's concussion protocol, and he would need to make significant strides to be cleared to return to practice, let alone play another game this season. Tagovailoa gives Miami's offense the best chance, but his health is by far the most important concern for the Dolphins' future. Once it was articulated to me that it doesn't help Tua in any shape or form if I project any sort of things besides, hey, what are we doing today and what are we doing to get better today, I haven't even thought about it, McDaniel said. I just want him to take everything day by day. We'll assess everything when he's fully cleared, whatever that is. It seems as if the decision has already been made, and that's the right one for Tagovailoa's health. For now, the Dolphins are celebrating a milestone. Hill says he was emotional after the Dolphins win. He reached 4 straight AFC Championship games and 2 trips to the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs with his former team. Now he returned to the postseason, his first season with his new team. If you really understand the history of the Miami Dolphins, just the grind of the season and just everything this team has been through, just thinking about that moment, it felt really good for this team, Hill said. At one point, the Dolphins rivaled the Chiefs for the number 1 seed to the AFC. Now they're sneaking in at the 7th seed, heading to Buffalo. The Dolphins' season was on the verge of a collapse, losing 5 straight games after an 8-3 start before their win over the Jets. Thompson finished 20 of 31 passing for 152 yards with no interceptions or touchdowns. The Jets' pass rush hurting his ability to see or hit the Dolphins' playmakers down the field. The team converted 4 of 13 third downs and had 302 total yards of offense. It wasn't pretty, but we did what we had to do to win and made the plays we needed to win, Thompson said. And that's all that matters. With the game on the line, Thompson completed 2 passes to the receiver Jalen Waddle and got Miami in position for their go-ahead field goal. It was the second 50-yard field goal Sanders made this season. He's previously 1 for 5 from that distance. I'm just happy we were able to get it done for the guys. Sanders said of the effort from special teams, which needed 3 field goals. McDaniel finishes his first season as the Dolphins head coach with a 9-8 record. Thankful Dolphins owner Stephen Ross gave him his only coaching interview around this time last year. But McDaniel and the Dolphins will quickly shift gears to Buffalo, which appears primed to make another deep postseason run, even more with safety Damar Hamlin's recovery from cardiac arrest providing an emotional spark. It's playoff ball. It's 1 game at a time. Anything can happen in the playoffs, Xavier Howard said. It's going to be our 3rd time facing the Bills. They know us and we know them, so we know it's going to be a good matchup. Hill, who helped eliminate the Bills in each of the last 2 postseasons with the Chiefs, had a little more confidence in what the Dolphins could do despite their quarterback situation. I need y'all to listen to this. See, this is the first indication I had yesterday where players are under the belief that he's probably going to play this week. So here's what he said. We're going to do some real damage in the postseason, Hill said. I feel like once we got a lot of guys back off the injury list, we'll be fine. Right there. I feel like once we get a lot of... You think he's just talking about Armstead? Like, do y'all really think he's saying that and just talking about Teron Armstead? He's talking about Armstead and Tua. That's who Tyreek, and this is after the game yesterday. I'm telling you right now, guys, I showed y'all the video from Jay Glazer last week. Jay Glazer said before our game against the Patriots, Tua's telling people around him, if we get to the playoffs, he's going to come back. Mike Girardi was on NFL Network this morning saying Tua's telling everyone he wants to come back for this playoff game. I'm telling you right now, he's coming back. I got a feeling. I just got a feeling, bro. I mean, I got a feeling. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you look at what Adam Schefter said too, shout out to friend of the channel, Tyler Dunn. Look at what Adam Schefter said today too. On ESPN just now at 12:15, Adam Schefter said he thinks Miami is hoping Tua Tagovailoa will be able to start Sunday against the Bills. They want to see how he progresses this week. I mean, right there. I'm telling you, man. This kid's going to try and come back this week. Listen, even after the concussion, sure, he was clearly out of it and had some bad throws, but he also had some fantastic throws. If you want my honest opinion, if it was the 90s or early 2000s, he would have been playing against the Patriots. If he didn't have the optics of what happened against the Bengals, we would have seen him in one of these two games against the Jets or the Patriots already. I truly, honestly believe that. Jake Glazer's out here before the Patriots game last week telling everyone, Tua's telling everyone around him, if we get to the playoffs. And then the teams being vague about where he's in the concussion protocol. They're being real quiet about it. It's because they want to, they know that they can fast track him this week because I'm telling you, man, this is what this reeks of. That's what this all reeks of. Now, this was McDaniel's update today. This is what McDaniel told everyone today. So, Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa remains in concussion protocol and hasn't been cleared for non-contact on-field work, leaving his status very much in question for Sunday's playoff game at Buffalo at 1 p.m. But I want y'all to watch how Barry starts, the things Barry starts saying though. I want you to start reading what Barry says here. All right, so let's go this, okay? So, Coach Mike McDaniel said Monday that he hopes for clarity on the quarterback situation on Wednesday. Teddy Bridgewater, who has a dislocated pinky finger on his throwing hand, could have played in an emergency on Sunday against the Jets. But if Tagovailoa cannot play Sunday, Bridgewater likely needs to increase the distance he can throw with his injury. He was throwing passes of intermediate length after one day of practice last week. Meanwhile, rookie Skylar Thompson, who started Sunday's game against the Jets, is banged up after a tackle on Sunday, McDaniel said. You have to see where they are at to make a sound judgment on Wednesday. ESPN's Adam Schefter says he believes the Dolphins are hoping that Tagovailoa will be able to start Sunday against the Bills and want to see how he progresses this week. But Tagovailoa remains only in the middle stages of the concussion protocol after 15 days. McDaniel has declined to offer any timetable for Tagovailoa's return, but said that Tagovailoa has had no setbacks or concerns. That is key right there. No setbacks or concerns. Because Tagovailoa hasn't yet been cleared for on-field work, that means he has not gone beyond the third step of the NFL's 5-step concussion protocol. Players must complete all 5 steps and receive clearance from 5 doctors in order to be permitted to play. The NFL describes the 4-step of concussion protocol as football-specific activities. The NFL describes stage 4 this way: if the player has not seen an increase in concussion symptoms, they may practice at a non-contact level. That means throwing, catching, running, or any other positional drills that do not involve contact with players or objects. If that player does not exhibit any post-practice symptoms, they can advance to the final step. The NFL describes Step 5 as a full football activity. The player can then take part in a full football practice with pads with full contact. One interesting stipulation is that a player can simulate this step if there is no full contact practice left on the schedule that week, i.e. a walkthrough. Whether Tagovailoa is even in Step 3 of the protocol isn't confirmed. McDaniel said he's not sure, but he said that he has seen Tua Tagovailoa perspiring. Step 3 involves more aerobic exercise and strength conditioning. Exercise training can increase in intensity and can even mimic some sort of specific sports activities at this step. Players may also participate in supervised. So if he's sweating, if he's seeing him sweating, he's in Step 3. Okay? So McDaniel then addressed other issues on Monday. He said he's not sure if starting tackles Teron Armstead or Brandon Shell will be able to play on Sunday. There will be more of that late week fun, he said. According to a league source, Shell has a high ankle sprain and a mild knee sprain. It would be surprising if he starts on Sunday. Raheem Mostert broke his thumb, and it's a serious injury, McDaniel said. It was a significant break in his thumb. He will be addressing that with surgery today. He wouldn't be ruled out on Monday, but the notion of Mostert playing Sunday seems very unlikely. So now Mostert might miss the game because he's getting surgery today on his broken thumb. McDaniel was heartened to hear that Bills safety Damar Hamlin was released from the hospital on Monday. If he's a game on the Sunday, we will be cheering Damar the same as if he was a Miami Dolphin. McDaniel said, we feel very blessed to be a part of that celebration. McDaniel didn't seem concerned about ankle injuries for Hill or Waddle. Award winners. The Dolphins gave the team's Dan Marino Most Valuable Player Award to Tyreek Hill, who set the single-season franchise record for receptions and yards. The Dolphins gave awards to 3 other players. Quarterback Tagovailoa received the Don Shula Leadership Award. Alec Ingold was named the team's Ed Block Courage Award. And Emmanuel Ogba received the Nat Moore Community Service Award. So, again, heading back to Tua here. Step 3. Right? That's where it's believed. I mean, let's slide over to we got to slide over. Let's slide over to Barry's. I want to show you guys Barry's timeline for a sec here, because there are some interesting tweets here. And hey, listen, good question, good donation. Mr. Finisher says, if Tua gets injured again on Sunday, then what? That's a good question. If you hold Tua out this offseason and he gets hurt the first game of next year, then what? You're eventually, if he wants to play football, he's eventually going to have to he's going to have to play. That same question will be if you hold him out and his first game next year. That'll be the same exact question you would have. So, listen, the issue with concussions is it comes down to the player. The player is the one who's going to make, it's going to follow. There's no real X-ray or MRI, or you got to go based off a lot of what the player's telling you how he's feeling. So, that's just it. Anyways, all right. I want to show you what Barry was saying on his timeline here, okay? After 15 days, it sounds like Tua is in stage 2 or 3 of 5-stage concussion protocol. Stage 2 is light aerobic. Stage 3 is more strenuous aerobic. McDaniel said he's not sure what stage 2 is in, but has observed Tua perspiring. My sense from conversation is Armstead is a possibility for Sunday. No certainty either way. But I would be surprised if Brandon Shell starts Sunday, though. He has a high ankle sprain and knee sprain. Could see Little or Hunt at right tackle. Shell has been a good pickup. Anyways, back to Tua. In spite of this, Tua could, listen, this is what you guys got to see here. In spite of this, Tua could still play if he's cleared for stage 4 protocol tomorrow, Wednesday, or maybe even Thursday. Then moves to stage 5 by Friday, Saturday, and then he's good to go. McDaniel suggested he'll have game plans for all 3 quarterbacks. All 3 quarterbacks, he has said that. So if you were 110% sure Tua ain't playing, I mean, what are you doing, right? I mean, if you're going to have All right, and look at even Joe Shad acknowledged this. Mike McDaniel tells Barry, yes, they would consider devising game plans for Skylar, Teddy, and Tua. I mean, that right there tells you why you're devising a game plan. I'm just saying, man. It really seems like it. It really seems like it's trending towards Tua's gonna try his damnedest and go this week. I would not be shocked. I would not be surprised if he ends up playing this weekend. I really wouldn't. Listen, his health comes first and foremost. You got to make sure he's healthy enough. Okay? His health comes over everything. There is no singular doubt about that. But right now, you read between the lines of all this stuff that I've just shown you. And, going back to when I was showing you stuff about Jake Glazer last week. Right? If Adam Schefter is reporting that he's hearing the Dolphins are hoping he's going to go this week, what does that tell you? And then they confirmed to Barry, oh yeah, we'd be willing to do 2 different game plans. That's crazy. That's indications that, yeah, it's a real possibility that he's going to be going this week. So, I mean, we got to let this play out. But don't be shocked if Tua trots out there on Sunday, is all I'm saying. Do not be shocked if Tua trots out there on Sunday. Do not be shocked. Because all the hints are out there. From Tyreek to Adam Giardi to, Adam Schefter. I mean, they're everywhere. The only one that's being vague and not saying anything is McDaniel. And that's because doctors told him not to. So, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. And you gotta realize he's in stage 3 right now, and it's all optics, guys. Come on, man. If this was the early 2090s, I think this kid would have forced his way back in one of the last 2 games. Whether that's right or wrong, that would have been his decision. He would have forced his way back in there. So, we'll see. I think, listen, we just got to hope that all those guys get healthy, man. Skylar's banged up. Teddy's banged up. These guys just got to get healthy, man. All these guys got to get healthy. Our whole quarterback room is banged up. All our tackles are banged up. It's ridiculous right now, man. It is ridiculous. And in case you didn't know, so now you know, here is the schedule for all the playoff games this weekend. All right. Saturday, 4:30, we got Seattle and San Francisco. 8:15, we got the Chargers in Jacksonville. That's going to be a good game Saturday night. We'll be watching that one. Go Jacksonville. Just because Jacksonville's been so fun to watch, man. So fun to watch. Miami, Buffalo, 1 p.m., CBS. And then after us, it's the Giants and the Vikings. And then Baltimore and Cincinnati at night. And then the Monday night game, Dallas and Tampa. So, and you're probably wondering, hey, why didn't they move us to Monday night? They gave ESPN that Dallas game because of the viewership it's going to bring in. And because ESPN, right, they lost the Bengals-Bills game, so they're trying to make it up for them by giving them that viewership. I think, you want my early predictions right now? San Fran, Jacksonville. I'm going to not touch Miami or Buffalo. I'm going to leave that one out. Not till we know who's starting, okay, because it does matter for me. I'm taking San Fran, Jacksonville. I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to take Cincinnati. And I'm going to take Tampa Bay on that first round. Shout out to Mr. If Tua was your son, would you let him play Sunday? If Tua was my son and he said, Dad, I feel 110%. I'm good to go. And he's a grown man now. What am I supposed to say to him? I have 2 children. If they're grown in their mid-20s and they say, I'm 110%, I'm good to go, I want to play, what am I going to say to them? That at the end of the day, it don't matter what I say to them. It's their choice. It's their decision. Are we hey, I might be Canadian, but don't all y'all Americans, don't y'all preach freedom of speech? Again, I'm not saying whether he's right or wrong, Tua, in wanting to go 3 or 4 weeks after that hit, but that's his decision. Even if I was his father, let alone some jabroni on YouTube, even if I was his father, who am I? That's his choice, man. I'm pro-choice. That's all I am. Okay? It ain't my choice. There you go. He's 25 on March 1st. What are you supposed to say to a 25-year-old? He's turning into a grown man now. He has a family, even his wife. Hell, we all know, all of us who are married have girlfriends. All of y'all girls who have dudes or have husbands. All of y'all know the deal. Spouses get worried too. They get even more worried than parents, especially when you got kids involved. And he's been with his girl since he was a freshman at Alabama. She was with him before the fame. She's been down since day one. But at the end of the day, there's only so much even she can say. He's a grown man. Grown men got to make grown men decisions. End of story, man. This is going to come down to Tua and the doctors, and the thing is, because there's no crazy MRI or great testing that the doctors can do, a lot of concussion testing is left in the hands of the player, and because of that, it's going to come down to Tua. That's the way it works. Listen, again, I tell you this all the time whenever we talk. Man, I'm a Pittsburgh Penguin fan. I dealt with Sidney Crosby, okay? He missed almost 2 years of hockey. They thought he was never going to play a game again. Then he came back and won multiple Stanley Cups and never had concussion issues to that magnitude ever again. So I've been there where my star franchise player, because for me, Penguins and Dolphins above everything that isn't family or my friends. Okay? They are my teams. I ride and die with them. Y'all don't know it, but a lot of times when I'm live and the Penguins are on, they're sitting here on the screen and I'm watching out of the side of my eye while I'm talking to y'all. Okay? And I had my star, the Sidney Crosby, one of the greatest hockey players of all time, a franchise cornerstone, missed almost 2 years of hockey. And we all thought he was never going to be. The guy couldn't watch TV for I'm not even exaggerating, for almost a year. He was in dark rooms, not able to take the bright lights of TV. And he got linked up with a chiropractor outside of the organization and got all fixed, got all right. And we haven't had issues since, and we won multiple championships since then. You don't know with head injuries. This is what I keep telling people. It is such a gray area. Y'all do not know. Look at Kenny Pickett. Had 2 concussions this season. Switched helmet. No problem. Is that all Tua needs? Is to switch his helmet? You don't know. That's the thing. It's such a great area. Gray area. Every head, every brain, every person, every player is different. You don't know. Tua could literally, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. They could sign Tua tomorrow, and he could come back and have a concussion-riddled next year and retire. Or they could say, hey, we're not extending you. We're moving off of you. We're going to get this guy. Tua could go to another team, never have another concussion again, and be a Hall of Fame player. You don't know. That's what people need to realize here. You don't know. This is not as simple as saying he's injury prone. This is not a limb injury. This is not an arm. This is not a leg. This is not an ankle. This is not a recurring, say, hip injury. This is not a recurring the ankles he had tightrope surgeries on. It's none of those recurring things. Like, this is a totally different ball game we're into right now. I don't even like calling people injury prone with concussions. Injury prone to me is like non-contact injuries. Like, guys breathe on you and you break a limb. Like, you know what I mean? You take a hit, you're out, you're done. We ain't seeing you for, like, Deshaun Jackson, you know, was injury prone. Like, that's what I see, injury prone. Concussions to me are totally different. Concussions can affect anyone. It don't matter if you've never had an injury before, or it don't matter if you have the most injury-riddled history before. Concussions can affect anyone. That's the difference. That's why I will not label someone. I never called Trent Green concussion prone. Injury prone. And concussion wiped away that guy's career. Head injuries are a totally different ball game, and I can tell the people who never played contact sports or never played sports at a high level in this community when they talk about concussions like they're an ankle sprain or like they're a broken finger or like they're a broken arm. They are not the same thing, my friends. They can affect you. It don't matter what your injury history was. Head injuries are a different ball game. This is a different level we're at right now. Keys to the game says, Amber, Tua plays, run the ball, rush lane integrity, spy Josh Allen. Chubb makes an impact play, 31-27, Fint. Amber? You know why I'm going to clap for you? Because I don't care whether you're a boy or girl, brown, purple, white, black, yellow. I don't care what color, what gender you are. I don't care if you're non-binary, but I don't care what you are. That is a fantastic comment. That is a well-thought-out comment. And that is a well-vested donation right there. Thank you for that comment. I love that kind of stuff. Those are the comments I love. I love that. Well, I love everyone's comments. But those are the type. I love reading that kind of stuff off. I love hearing how smart this fan base is, man. Beautiful stuff. Love it, Amber. Thank you very much. All right now, Andy. Let's relax. You're going on a timeout. You're not going to diss Amber. Come on. You're going on a timeout on that one. All right. Yeah, like, you know, the concussions are a different ballgame, so I'm not even going to sit here and, you know, you don't know. You literally don't know. None of us know. And to sit here and act like we have degrees on Twitter or on YouTube is fucking ridiculous, okay? None of y'all are doctors, so stop. And I ain't talking to you in the comments. I'm talking to the people in general. So I'm not coming at y'all. Just speaking, some of the people out here acting like they got freaking PhDs and doctorates is ridiculous, man. Unbelievable stuff. The fact that one thing I got to put up with Dolphin fans who don't know how to break down film, thinking they know football. Now I got to deal with those same idiots thinking that they're doctors now and they have, and they're ridiculous, man. They have their MDs, they have their medical degrees, and it's unbelievable, man. Holy crap, I didn't know we had so many former NFL coaches and former, ER doctors, right? And orthopedic surgeons out here, and head trauma doctors in this community. My God. Why do we even need a medical staff in Miami? All of y'all on YouTube and Twitter got it figured out. Bunch of jabronis, man. Y'all get my Jabroni of the Week award. All right? Haven't done one of those in a while. But all of y'all out here speaking like y'all know football when it's evident you don't. And out here speaking like you got a medical degree when it's evident you don't. You are my jabronis of the season, let alone the week. And that's directed at no one in the comments, by the way. That's just in general. All right, let's get into a bit of the recap, man. Because I went off a little bit there, almost an hour. We'll do the recap. Recap here. We'll roll through it. Appreciate you, Loco SEO. Shout out to Knight. He says Nowinski doesn't think Tua is concussion prone. Man, Chris Nowinski, I remember when he was a wrestler back in the day. I remember when he was one of the guys who was people remember Chris Nowinski. He was one of the guys that really came forward about remember when Chris Benoit murdered his family and all about the CTE and stuff. Hey, Reason, you think the Jets could move on from Salah for Jim or Peyton and a chance to... Nick, you read my mind, baby. Listen, I had someone who's connected to the building hit me up a couple days ago and asked me, what would you think about Robert Salah as a defensive coordinator? And I tried to follow up, and that was the vagueness I was given. Now, they've announced the wish lists have come out. They're going to be hunting down Derek Carr, Jimmy G, and Lamar Jackson. So we'll see. They might give. I think they're going to give. I think they're going to give Robert Saleh another year unless he sticks with Zach Wilson as a starter. Then they're going to be like, "Yo, you're done, kid." I like the Lovie Smith idea. I think Lovie Smith is a very good defensive mind, very smart defensive mind. You know, Fangio's going to go with Peyton or Harbaugh. You know, I think Lovie Smith is up there, man. And hey, Florida born. I think. Okay, let me put it this way. I think if the Cowboys beat the Bucs in the first round, Sean Payton to Tampa Bay is a real possibility. And Todd Bowles gets fired. I think it's a real possibility. Sean Payton gets his weather. He gets to go coach Brady. Brady will re-up with Tampa Bay. Because Brady is now, Brady's girl is from what I understand, she's the friend of one of the Buccaneers co-owners' daughters. She's like 26 or something. So he's got reason now. He's going to stay, and he'll stay in Tampa. Sean Payton will go there. I would love Todd Bowles as DC, please. Please, I would love that. Oh my God. But watch out for Sean. I think Sean Payton is, if they get eliminated, man, they finished what did they finish? 8-9 too? So they finished under 500. If they get blown out if they lose to Dallas, especially Dallas has been crap the past couple weeks. If they lose to Dallas in the first round, Todd Bowles might be one and done. And Bruce Arians will stay in his spot, and then Sean Payton will come under him. And I think that's a real possibility. So, yeah. And then you got to watch Fangio with Peyton and Harbaugh, right? If Harbaugh's coming back, you got to watch out. So, I don't know how interested these coaches are going to be in taking on Russell Wilson's contract. I don't see Harbaugh. I don't see Peyton. And I know the Denver Broncos have gone after and have got permission from the Saints to mention Peyton. But I don't know how sold they are on that. But we'll see. Because really, I think Russell Wilson just needs a schematic change. I think okay, I'm going to say this. And I don't know how this will be received by some of y'all. Tua and Russell are very similar in the sense of this. Tua and Russell will execute your offense, the play you call, the way you want it executed, they will execute the offense the way you've game planned. They will not veer from the game plan. They will execute the offense the way, and that was the problem with Russell Wilson in Denver. He needed to veer from Nathaniel Hackett or, put his contract on the table and say, hey, buddy, this ain't meeting my skill set, and it ain't meeting the skill set of the offense we got right now. You need to switch this up. This ain't working. So Sean Payton might be able to fix it schematically. You know what I mean? I think it was a lot of Rex Ryan. I don't know about Rex Ryan. And see, I agree with joint to joint. I don't think Peyton here. Listen. Peyton, McDaniel's safe. I'm not talking about us, bro. Rex Ryan, yeah, that'd be interesting. He's not a Tua fan, though, huh? You're not a Tua fan. But I think, dude, I think Denver or Tampa will pay a pick for Peyton. They're right there. The NFC South, they can run through that with nothing. I mean, they will pay a first round pick for Sean Payton in Tampa Bay. So, anyways. All right. let's get back into the recap. Let's go over the snap counts here. Offensively, Greg Little, he was tough. The all-22, me and Martin will be breaking it down tomorrow. Skylar and some of the run game for all y'all. Greg Little, Robert Hunt, Connor Williams, 100% of the snap counts. Liam Eichenberg saw 89%. Shell saw 82%. Whew. Rough stuff. Robert Jones had to play some snaps as well. Man, rough stuff. Rough stuff, baby. It's, oh boy. So, you see Waddle. He actually had the most Hill due to that ankle injury. Waddle ended up finishing as our top receiver. Look at the discrepancy between Smythe and Gesicki right now. Smythe had, even with 2 out, more evident. Smythe had 21 more reps than Mike Gesicki. River Craycraft getting up to 15 reps. That's the most we've seen from him in quite some time. Ingold with that broken hand down there. Eric Zakama, easy. Not only had his first catch yesterday, he had his first 10 reps as a Miami Dolphin. I love it, man. E-Z-E. Beautiful stuff. When we go to the defensive snap counts, a little interesting here when you get to the defensive snap counts for a couple of reasons. Number one, seemed like Chubb was on a pitch count. This was his lowest snap count all season. Bradley Chubb only had 18 snaps in his return. That is very, very low. Christian Wilkins continuing to show why that man deserves an extension. Xavier Howard, even when he's struggling out there for 100% of the snaps. Kader Kohu out there for 100% too, locking in that CB2 spot. And then when you look at the strong safety, the box safety, 21 reps for Verone McKinley, 32 for Eric Rowe. Melvin Ingram, 31 reps, 55, and a guy who continues to nosedive. And a conversation we're going to have, ladies and gentlemen, with 29 reps, 52% of the reps, Raekwon Davis. Guys, has Raekwon Davis regressed over the last 2 years? Has Raekwon Davis become the guy we thought we were drafting? Listen, me and EM thought he was going to be, when we did you go back on one of our first draft boards, what's defensive tackle, man? The guy who was screaming Chris Jones. And you look at John Jenkins is making more plays. Zach Sealer's making more plays. Raekwon Davis is just not making a lot of plays right now. So, Raekwon, you got to ask, is that a guy they're going to potentially move off of to strengthen up their interior a little bit? I think Ken nailed it. He's a good rotational DT, but DT's the key word, Ken. Maybe he should not be a zero tech. Maybe he's not fit. Maybe he's better fit for a 4-3, being a defensive tackle interior, a 3 tech or something instead of that 0 tech, right? So it's something to think about, something to consider. PFF grades. You already know we're going to get into them. Some people do them when it fits their narrative or do them sporadically. We've been doing them weekly since we started this channel. 3 years of PFF grades, and y'all know how I feel. I show it to y'all because it's information, but, I tell y'all what I tell y'all. Always trust your eyes over the PFF grades. I've done the work for PFF. I know how they operate, right? I've done some work for them. They don't even watch all 22. They do everything based off broadcast, and trust me, that matters. And on top of it, a lot of these are volunteers who are not getting reimbursed, who are football fans just like you and I. So, again, bias comes into play because, that's just how it works. So, let's get into it offensively. Your top graded guy was Raheem Mostert at an 80.7. Robert Hunt, number 2, at an 80.2. Connor Williams, with the bad snap and everything, somehow ended up our top 3 graded guy at a 77.3. Skylar graded out at a 73.4, number 4 overall. Durham Smythe, number 5 at a 72.6. And at the bottom here, Liam Eichenberg at a 42.1. Greg Little at a 52.5, a 53.9 for Trent Sherfield. Hunter Long, 56.8, 58.5 by Alec Ingold, and a 14 at an Eric Izakama came in at a 59.7. When you look at the blocking, 15 pressures allowed yesterday, 11 hurries, 4 hits, 0 sacks. Great stuff, but the pressures were coming. Brandon Shell again. Another rough outing for Brandon Shell, and Connor Williams somehow. See, that's what I'm saying. Connor Williams ends up with a bad snap, all right, a fumbled snap, and allows 3 pressures, the second most pressures on our team, and somehow ends up with that grade. Man, any good offensive lineman will tell you, hey, we lose 1 rep, we didn't have a good game, let alone we just counted losing 4 reps. If you look at the pressures with the fumble. What is this? All right, like, come on, man. What are we talking about here? Greg Little, he allowed 3 pressures. Durham Smythe 2. Jeff Wilson allowed 1, and so did Liam Eichenberg. When we look at Skylar Thompson, he was 2 for 3 from beyond 20. 2 for 5 from 10 to 20. From 0 to 10, he only had 2 incompletions, as he was 10 of 12. And then you look at behind the line of scrimmage, 6 of 6. When he was kept clean, he was 12 of 15 for 52 yards. His yards per attempt was 3.5. His average depth of target was 4.4. That is brutal. Like, that is half. Like, that is not good. That is bottom of, like, that's brutal. Under pressure, he was 8 of 16 for 100 yards. His adjusted completion percentage would have been 72.7%. Now, his yards per attempt is more respectable here at 6.3, and his average depth of target at 9.7. Way more respectable there. Way more respectable. And then you look at, like, this man had a QBR of like 14. I don't know where they got their 77 grade. That's funny to me. You look at passing concept, 5 out of 9 on play action for 43 yards. Adjusted completion percentage of 62.5. On straight dropbacks, he's 15 of 22 for 109 with a yards per attempt of 5, an average depth of target of 6.7, and an 83.3 adjusted completion percentage. So again, pretty good on straight dropbacks, but pretty good, but not very productive on them, right? When you actually break it down. Jalen Phillips, he was our top graded player overall. He had an 89.5. Cater Coe, who had an 81.3. Duke Riley, number 3 at a 77.5. Zach Sealer at a 74.7. Jerome Baker at a 74.1. Those are your top 5. Your bottom 5. Javon Holland at a 41.4. Bradley Chubb at a 41.5. Landon Roberts at a 48. Raekwon Davis at a 59.2. And John Jenkins at a 59.6. The coverage matchups for yesterday, Xavier Howard targeted 9 times. 8 of those to Garrett Wilson, allowed 6 receptions. 5 of those to Garrett Wilson, allowed 95 yards. 80 of those to Garrett Wilson, allowed 5 first downs. 4 of those to Garrett Wilson. But he also had 3 pass breakups on Garrett Wilson as well. Cater Coe, who he was targeted 5 times, 4 against Garrett Wilson. He only allowed 1 reception, and it was for a 13-yard loss to Garrett Wilson. And he had a pass breakup on Garrett Wilson as well. Landon Roberts targeted 3 times, allowed 3 receptions for 18 yards and a first down. Jerome Baker targeted 3 times, allowed 1 reception for 12 yards and a first down. Keon Crossan targeted 3 times, allowed 1 reception for 5 yards. Javon Holland targeted 3 times, allowed 3 receptions, and he allowed 2 first downs. Duke Riley targeted twice, allowed 2 receptions for 8 yards. Jalen Phillips targeted once, allowed 1 reception. So you see Garrett Wilson, he was targeted 17 times, allowed 9 receptions. The guys he feasted on was Xavier Howard. That's who he feasted on, was Xavier Howard. So those are your coverage matchups. Now, how does everyone finish in terms of grades at the end of the season? Well, your top graded player this year was Tyreek Hill with a 92.1. Jalen Waddle, number 2, at an 83.9. And then number 3, Tua Tagovailoa, at an 81.9, was your 3rd highest graded player. Connor Williams at number 4, a 78.4. And then Salvin Ahmed at a 78.1. And Taron Armstead at the 77.5, round out the top 6. River Craycraft at 7 with a 77. Raheem Mostert at 8 with a 75.7. A 73.7 for Robert Hunt, and a 71.2 for Teddy Bridgewater. Down here, Skylar Thompson, in case you're wondering, finishes with a 58.6 grade on the season. Your bottom guys, though, Tanner Connor finishes with a 30.9. Greg Little with a 34.6. Liam Eichenberg with a 39.8. Chase Edmonds, when he was here, with a 43.9. Braylon Sanders with a 50.6. Freddie Swain with a 55.4. Clayton Fedgelin with a 55.9. Alec Ingold with a 57.6. Austin Jackson with a 57.9. Skylar Thompson with a 58.6. And Hunter Long with a 58.9. Round out your bottom 10 graded Dolphins for the season on offense. On defense, your top graded guys, Jalen Phillips was your number 1 graded defender at an 87.7. Christian Wilkins at an 85.1. Jerome Baker at a 78. Trey Flowers at a 78 when he's in there. Ben Stilley at a 76.1 when he was in there. Zach Sealer at a 74.7. Andrew Van Ginkel at a 74.7 as well. Melvin Ingram at a 70.3. Kader Kohu finishes with a 69.8. And then rounding out the top 10, Verone McKinley, the UDFA, with a 69. Your bottom 10 guys, Sam McGuavin with a 29.1. Channing Tindall with a 43. 43.4 for Raekwon there. 50.7 for Keon. Justin Bethel, it's just ugly at the bottom there. Emmanuel Ogba, Bradley Chubb, Noah Benogny, they're in the bottom 10. Just not good. Now, how did Tua finish overall in terms of passing grades? He finished number 4 overall in the NFL with his 81.4 passer grade. Offensively graded, he finished 8th overall with an 81.9. All right? That's where he finished. Now, let's get back to, let's see where what's his face? Here we go. Tyreek finishes as your top graded. Here, let's do minimum 200 because we got guys out here with like 12 targets, okay? Minimum targets. We'll do 20% of 176. All right. Tyreek Hill finishes at a 92.1. Jalen Waddle finishes at 11 at an 83.9. All right. Now, let's go to let's go look at how our edge. Let's go see where Jalen Phillips ended here. Jalen Phillips ends up as the 7th highest graded edge rusher in the NFL this season at an 87.7. Again, let me do minimum snaps, 20%. If I do 20%, he's at 6. All right, let me do Tua there. Does it take Dalton and everyone away if I do Tua? If we do Tua, minimum dropbacks, 20%. Stays at 4. His offensive grade, yeah, he stays at 8. So, you see that Jalen Phillips finished in the top. Look at that. Look at that. Number 7th overall graded. And in terms of pass rush grade, look at that. Right up there with the best of them in his pass rush grade. Right behind the best of them. Love it. Absolutely love it. Wanted to take a look at some of the end of the season PFF grades with all of y'all. Because, man, there's some stuff to be proud of with this team. Got to give them their flowers, man. You got to give them their flowers. You got to give them their props. It's a beautiful thing, baby. It's a beautiful thing. All right, we still got a couple things to get into. We ain't done. We heading into Monday Night Football, so I got y'all. All right, keeping it going. Let's get into the passing charts. This was Skylar Thompson's passing chart. Not targeting a lot of the middle of the field like, this offense is known to do. 20 of 31, 152, 0 touchdowns. Just good ball distribution inside the 10 yards. Hey, man, I've said since day one, I like this kid's potential in this offense. He's just not ready yet. He will be ready, but he's just not there yet. All right? That's Skylar's passing chart. You look at Flacco's passing chart, a little more spread around against us. right? 18 of 33. Still the same amount of yardage, but a little more testing all parts of the field, right? A little bit more, especially the middle of the field, finding a lot of success in the middle of the field towards us. Those are the Skylar, Thompson, and Joe Flacco passing charts from Next Gen Stats. Now, when we get into the Next Gen Stats themselves from yesterday's game, this is what we got. Joe Flacco had the longest completed air distance for the Jets, obviously at 35.2. Skylar Thompson had the longest of the game at 39.7. The fastest ball carrier was Raheem Mostert, got up to 19.86 miles per hour yesterday. Michael Carter just behind him at 19.15. Quincy Williams had the fastest sack. He was able to get to the quarterback in 3.8 seconds. We always show these passing charts because they always look a little different than what PFF shows us, and you see this here. It's pretty similar this week around with Skylar, so not big much of a difference. Pretty similar stuff. You see the rushing. Zonovan Knight just found no luck on the edge and the gaps against us. Now, Ty Johnson found a little luck off the edge, but not much. Michael Carter, no luck as well. Jeff Wilson finding a lot of luck to the right gaps and off that right edge. Mostert finding a lot of luck off the left edge in the gaps right there. Good stuff from Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert when you look at the run charts. Receiving, the league average in separation per route is about 2.93 yards. For the Jets, Rucker, their tight end, was averaging 0.76 yards. Elijah Moore over at 3.46. Conklin, who was targeted a lot, 2.26 under. Corey Davis at 2.46 under. And Garrett Wilson, who had himself a game, was way under it at 1.88. But the league averages separation for us, River Craycroft beat it by like 3 yards at 5.93. Tyreek Hill was way under the league average separation, just over 2 yards. Durham Smythe under at 2.58. Waddle over at 3.39. Gesicki under at 2.28. And then you look at the defensive pass rush. Jalen Phillips once again returning as the top average separation from QB on our team, averaging about 3.56 yards when the league average is 4.53 yards yesterday. Melvin Ingram almost there at 3.76 yards. Sealer there at 4.03 yards. Wilkins there at 5 yards. Lawson under the league average at 4.37 yards. Franklin Myers under the league average at 4.43 yards. Then Quincy Williams and Rankins beyond the league average. So interesting stuff, man. All right. All 18 weeks are done. We knew heading into the season we had a, tougher schedule. How does the schedule pan out now that the season has played out? Check this one out. The Dolphins had one of the toughest schedules in the NFL this year when you look at offensive strength of opponents and defensive strength of opponents. We're all the way to the right there. In terms of defensive strength of the opponents, look at that. Only Cleveland and the Ravens had a stronger strength of schedule in terms of defensive strength of opponents. Now, look at this. Offensive strength of opponents. Look at this. We finished in about 4th. But for defensive strength of opponents, we finished 3rd. So we had, in terms of schedule, what this is telling you is we had the 4th hardest schedule against offensive strength of opponents, and we had the 3rd hardest schedule against defensive strength of the opponents this year. And look at, only us, the Ravens, and the Bengals are to that right side and made the playoffs. And quite frankly, the Bengals didn't face anywhere near the offensive strength of opponents we did. But look at, all the teams faded out are eliminated. All the teams highlighted made it. Look at that. Right there. That's what that's telling you. All the teams that are in full color made the playoffs. All the teams that are faded out did not make it. Look at all the teams to the right that didn't make it. And then look at the Bengals and the Bills, why their record is so high. Look at, they got better records than the Ravens and the Dolphins and the Bucks, who all faced really high offensive strength of opponents. Just saying to you, this puts a lot into perspective right here. When you look at how hard of a path it was to get to 9-8, the playoffs, that puts it into perspective. It really does. It really does. Finally, on deep attempts this season, everyone looked at it every season. We always look at deep attempts where everyone averages, be it all that jazz. Well, guess what? Look at who's at the top of the list this year in deep completion rate. Right? Everyone wanted the attempt rate to get higher because last year it was him and Herbert were always near the top of the list, but Herbert's attempts were higher. Now Tua is up there. Only, he's top 5, top 6 in attempt. He's top 10 in attempt rate now. But look at his completion rate on attempts plus 15 yards. And he missed how many games? Who wants to hear it? Are you ready to hear it? What does this chart tell you? Tua Tagovailoa is one of the best and most efficient deep ball throwers in the NFL right now. Thank you very much. Right there. Right there in front of you. Y'all, remember? I remember. You can't get it past me. I remember everyone was seeing, he was top in completion rate. And they were like, he's barely attempting it. Now he's up in top 10 in attempts. And he's number 1 in completion rate. Now what's the goalpost? Now what's the goalpost? We have arguably the best deep ball thrower in the NFL right now. And it's a beautiful thing. And I think, listen, man. Listen, you want to know? Did y'all hear Tyreek's warning this week? Look at what Tyreek said yesterday. I want y'all to see it.
Whoever face us, I think it's Buffalo. Guys better warm up those hamstrings.
Oh, they better warm up the hamstrings? Why they got to warm them up?
Because it's going to be cold.
Oh, okay.
What you thought I was going to say?
I mean, you're the cheat. I thought it's because you might burn past them. They got to get ready.
Nah, it's going to be cold, though.
Oh, it's going to be cold. That's what it is.
Whoever face us.
That's what I'm saying. What does he say? He ain't telling me he goes, it's cold. This man's being sly. He's telling you, warm up the hammies. We coming. And I don't know if y'all saw it, but I got to show you it, man. That celebration. Look at this. If you missed it, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. The moment the Dolphins made the playoffs yesterday.
Let's go! Now, I might not know a thing or two, but I told you guys this shit would be worth it. Is it worth it or not? It's worth it. Yeah. I am so proud of this group of people. It is amazing. Okay? Everybody in the building, in the football operations building, is getting a game ball. Come on, sir. Okay? Yeah. Because it is so easy to blink in a 5-game losing streak.
Let's go.
Especially when you guys put it all on the line. Skylar. How about my man Jason? You guys know what you're fighting for, okay? You really do. It was evident, and it was any way possible. 14,533 days have been on the earth. This is one of those that sticks out above all else.
Let's go.
I thank you guys. We will have a victory Monday. I got one last game ball, okay, to the ultimate captain, okay, because you guys don't get to talk to him all the time. I get to, and the dude didn't blink. He loves this team. He loves you guys, okay? Game ball, breakdown, Mr. Ross, get up in here.
Dolphins on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go, baby! And you know that man was not only giving him the game ball to say, hey, thanks for the opportunity, but hey, we got into the playoffs, kid. Let's go. I love it, man. I love it. If that doesn't get you hyped, I don't know what will. Let's go. Let's go. We're in the playoffs, man. We're in the playoffs, and that's all that matters right now. Victory Monday. We getting in the playoffs. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. Smash that like button if it is a beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan and getting prepared for the playoffs. Listen, I know we got the worries of if Tua's going to be ready or not, but let's enjoy this ride, man. It's been since 2016. We have earned this, Dolphin Nation. We have earned this. Next up, the Lions are going to earn it, but we have earned this, man. We have earned this. And anything is possible now. The second season is starting. Any given Sunday means more than ever right now. That saying rings truer than ever. It holds more weight right now once the playoffs start. And this team, and I got an issue with these delusional people out here trying to make it like Skylar won us the game. And listen, I'm a Skylar fan. You know, I've been since we drafted him. I believe that in this kid's ceiling. I believe in this kid, in this offense. He just needs to be developed. He just needs work. But these delusional people out here trying to make this win all about Skylar, from all of Dolphins Nation, fuck you. And the reason why I say that is this. That was the definition of a team win. And for you to try and take away from a team win like that, and as meaningful of a team win as that it took to get into the playoffs, we haven't had that meaningful of a team win since I don't know when I can remember, because it got us in the playoffs. The team got us in the playoffs. The defense got us in the playoffs. McDaniel and Boyer did the job and got us in the playoffs. That was the definition of a team victory. And shame on you and fuck you to any of you trying to make this about one player. Because we see your agendas, we see through the bullshit, we know what it's about, and you ain't fooling us. If Tua would have put up that stat line, y'all would be crucifying him like they did Jesus back in the day, all right? Y'all would be throwing stones, y'all would be hammering this man into the cross. Don't act like you wouldn't be if he would have had 30 attempts, put up 150 yards, and we put up 11 points, 9 of those for the offense, all field goals against the Jets. Stop it right now. That was the definition of a team win, and shame on any of you. You are not about the logo. If you were making about this Skylar and making it a Tua agenda riddled take, you are not about the logo, because we needed a team win more than ever, and we got it, and that team win got us into the playoffs. That team win should be celebrated. That team win should be celebrated. Because they came together as a team with their backs up against the wall, against the ropes, having lost 5 in a row, and they came together as a staff, down to the personnel, and they all came together and they won the game. And that's that. Anyways, we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be breaking down the film, me and Martin. We're going to look at Skylar. We're going to look at Jeff Wilson. We're going to look at it all. I'll see all of y'all tomorrow night. Enjoy the victory. The Dolphins are in. Fins for the win, baby. Fins for the win. And Fins with the playoffs, we're in. Fins up all day, every day. I will see all of y'all tomorrow night. Appreciate all of y'all.